So on this episode, we set some lofty goals and do not reach them. Anyway, let's get into it. You'll see what happens. All right, some more working in the engine bay. I cut my, y'all remember, the frame rail had a thing sticking off like that here in the front, and I'd already cut it here and beat it back on both sides, so I went ahead and just cut those back, both sides, getting ready to bring the welder in here and weld that all up, dress it down, trying to hopefully get the engine bay, all the welding stuff finished up this week. Well, that was laughable. It's 3 weeks later and I'm still not done welding stuff in the engine bay. And get on to maybe stripping and getting ready for paint. I got my frame rails all welded up, ground down, looking pretty good. This piece was in here. This is where the battery tray used to be. I cut that out. I'm gonna cut some more out because on the back side of this, you can see my tire rubs there every once in a while, so I'm gonna cut that harder corner out and flatten that out like that a little bit. So this will be a fun area. This might turn out nice and surprise me, or it might turn out looking like crap as expected, but I'm gonna get to making a template and see what I can do. Here goes nothing. I'm not exactly expecting stellar results here, but worst case scenario, I cut it out again. Well, that's far less terrible than I expected. That's actually really not bad. It's a little low there, and this over here I got a little hot, so this here shrunk a little bit. But sorry about the wind noise. It's warm. All right, so anyway, I ran out of welding wire, so I can't finish it tonight, but I'm starting to get the hang of welding thinner metal with flux core welders. I'll definitely have some body work to do in this area, but ain't nothing that some grinding and some body filler can't fix, I don't think. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Well, there it is, all welded in. I'll get these all ground down. I'll probably have to go over them, hit them here and there with weld again just to build up a little bit, but I'm pretty tickled with that. So I just want to show y'all a little something here. What I lack as the skill of a welder, I make up for pretty decent as an operator of a grinder, because this here is not cleaned up at all. Like, this is with all the splatter and smoke staining and everything from the flux core. Here it is, all cleaned up with the wire wheel. And there's after the initial pass with the grinder. Got a couple spots there where y'all can see I'm gonna put a little bit of weld in and hit it with the grinder again. See, like there, that's a couple spots that I touched up on this side but haven't ground down yet. What I lack in welding skills, I can disguise fairly well with a grinder. So if it turns out pretty good, that's why. Here's another thing that I decided to do, been wanting to do for years, and decided now's a good time to do it. Being as I'm running a coilover kit suspension on this thing, and these cars were designed for torsion bar suspension. So the torsion bars go back to the cross member under the floor. It carries the weight back to that. So the shock towers were never really intended to carry the weight of the car. The Hemi-Denny suspension, he does utilize a shock mount brace, which helps a lot compared to some of the others don't brace anything there. So in order to help stiffen this front end up even more to where it can handle any added stress from the coilover suspension, I am adding J-bars that'll weld into these plates here, and they'll come down to the frame, and add triangulation in here, just stiffen up this frame. As y'all know, I already added in that, so that stiffens it up a lot as far as side to side movement. This will stiffen it up from any movement like this. And then to tie these shock towers into that J-bar, I'm cutting out this. Well, I'll show you on this side since I already did it. 3-inch piece of pipe, angle cut, 1/8 inch thick, then got 1/8 inch steel here. And on the bottom side, you can see there, I'm running it down contoured to that, and I'm gonna weld it all along that to the original shock tower. I'm gonna weld this to the top, and then those J-bars, I'm not gonna weld these in right now. I've got them to where I can pull them out, because that J-bar is gonna come right through here, and then I'll have to notch this out for the J-bar, and I'll weld this directly to the J-bar as well. I am gonna cap this as well, so this will all be nice flush. But yeah, I'll do that to both sides, and like I said, those J-bars will come in, so it'll tie the firewall into the shock mount, into the front of the frame rail. That's all stiffer. I mean, this thing should be, I already have subframe connectors in the car that I put in several years ago. That made a big difference, just the subframe connectors. But yeah, it should stiffen this car up significantly. So progress has slowed significantly. Had family here a couple weekends ago. Got nothing done for about 4 days. We were gone last weekend for a baby moon. We're expecting our second this fall. So, and then, you know, I'm one of those people that I do well with motivation and stuff when I'm on a roll and I've got a plan. But when I'm sort of just coming out and working on just here, there, and everywhere, it's sort of hard to stay motivated. So I'm pushing through. Anyway, I don't remember what I videoed last. So I'll show you a couple things I did. I got this other piece. They turned out pretty good. I'm pretty tickled. I did actually spend more time on these then, and built up with weld and ground it down and stuff where you can't see the transition from this piece to this piece. I did that on all sides, and it turned out really nice, I think. And then last night, or no, the other day, I don't remember when it was, I dropped the tank out, the stock fuel tank. I cut an access door in because I'm gonna be installing this Tanks Inc. EFI fuel tank. And instead of having the sending unit going out the front like the original one, it's got everything on top. So I'm gonna put an access door in there. Also, since I'm moving the battery to the trunk, I decided I don't just want the battery sitting on the trunk back here. Just for sake of not losing as much trunk space, I cut a hole. And I welded this thing up last night. The plan was to use this for the bottom, but I'm actually gonna use it for the top because it's a little too wide. But I wanna drop the thing down as low as I can without it being visible from the outside of the car too noticeably. But this thing's about a 1/2 inch too wide. So the one I'm gonna make, the bottom, I'm actually gonna make these 3 sides straight, and then this side here is gonna have a 1/2 inch slope coming up. And I'll use this for the lid. Could have bought a battery box. They were bigger than I wanted. Would have been a whole lot faster. This was cheaper. Buying one would have been lighter because those are aluminum. This is 1/8 inch steel. But it is what it is. So here I'm working on getting more of it drawn out. I'm gonna cut this out scribe these, or yeah, cut the lines partway through with a grinder so I can bend the stuff over, then weld the seams up. This will probably take me all day if I work on this today, so. All right, so there I've got them cut, scored. See how this turns out. There's that. All right. Oh yeah, pro tip. When your brother has your big square, framing square, that you could really use for marking this stuff out, I'll show you what else works. You've got a uncut piece of poster board. You can lay that thing on a straight edge, line one edge up, and just go down the other side with a marker. That's how I drew out everything on this. Works pretty good. I haven't checked it with an actual square, see how square it is, but it works pretty good so far. I got my pieces all cut out and cleaned up. I'm gonna get set up, tack this thing together, see how the lid fits, and go from there. My figures were off a little bit. I had to go and cut about 3/16 off the end of the box and off these other two pieces as well. But also, another correction, this is not 1/8 inch steel, this is 16 gauge steel. So 1/8 inch steel would have been ridiculous overkill. 16 gauge, this is what's left over of that piece that I cut my patch panels out of. So not all that excessive. Anyway, back to tacking this up. And here's the idea coming to life. So, see what I was saying about saving trunk space? Now instead of having this thing sticking 10 inches up in the trunk, which should be like way up here, it's 4 3/4. So I'm gonna get it finished welded up, and I'll probably weld some just like 1 inch strips on the side here, maybe all the way around, frankly, I don't know, we'll see. And then just bolt it down through the floor for now. Eventually, obviously, I need a floor pan in here. This one's less than ideal, but I'll just make it to where I can bolt this thing in. Then when I do a floor pan, I can just take this box out, put the new floor pan in, drop it back in. Well, I guess I should start wearing long pants when I weld. This was pretty much a new pair of socks this morning when I put them on. Shorts. Probably the best thing to wear when welding. That, or maybe I just need to start wearing flip-flops instead of boots. That might be a better idea. So y'all remember how earlier I told y'all that my skills as a grinder operator can sort of disguise my lack of skills as a welder, with the core support here being Exhibit A. Well, I give y'all.
I want to sit in the pink car that has this squeaker.
Okay.
That's how the car goes. Yeah.
Exhibit B.
Squeak, squeak. That's how the car goes.
Fully made by me. Battery box. So you can see that side there's got a slight angle to it, like I was saying I was going to build it with. But all these welds, they didn't look the greatest. Dressed them all down with the flap wheel. And I think actually before I go and paint this thing, I think I'll get a orbital sander and some 80 grit and really just feather this all in nice. Just because. It's a pretty snug fit, the lid. Everything fits pretty good. Forgot to mention, my idea about welding in flip-flops, if you're wearing shorts, is actually better than wearing boots. Yeah, there's a couple times where I jumped a little bit, but it worked out. There's a couple times I jumped a little bit, but at least I didn't have slag going down inside my boot and burning a hole in my sock. So I actually got that idea from Josh on Sleeper Dude YouTube channel. Great channel, by the way, if any of y'all haven't seen it. I think that's gonna do it for this episode. Like, subscribe, share, all the fun stuff. Unless you don't want to, then don't. But it's free, so consider it. Thanks for watching.